fist on the useless radar console. He was torn between staying at his station, hoping that everything would come back online shortly, or leaving the heavily insulated room to get outside where his cell phone would work. In the darkness, he turned toward his supervisor's desk. "Tom, I'm going to have a big problem if I can't move some airplanes around." Tom Keller was already up on his feet and covered the distance in 3 strides.
"What do you got?"
"I was about to descend a Boeing 737, Wayfarer 880. I needed the separation from a military KC-135. They're both going through the same hole in the weather."
"The backup generator should come on any second. How long until there's a problem?"
"Less than 5 minutes. I needed Wayfarer to turn or descend. Then I lost the whole thing."
"Even if it's close, the 737 has TCAS," Keller replied. "They'll be able to avoid any serious problems."
Mark shook his head. "The transponder on the KC-135 isn't working right. It's been intermittent since he came into my sector." They both knew that without a working transponder on the military aircraft, the Wayfarer jet would have no way of knowing the KC-135 was even there. The TCAS equipment that alerted airplanes to a potential mid-air collision required both airplanes to have an operating transponder so they could talk to each other electronically.
"Oh, God! How close is it going to be?"
Keller pressed his fingers against his temples and pondered the unthinkable. "Given that they're both going through the same opening in the thunderstorms at the same altitude," Mark looked up in the near darkness at his boss, "these planes could hit." "Go," Tom reacted instantly.
"Do whatever it takes to reach Chicago Center. Try the payphone in the hallway, or use your cell phone. I don't care how you do it, but find a way. I'll stay here, and if this mess comes back up, I'll make the call. What's his call sign?"
"Wayfarer 880. Mark yanked off his headset. "Just have him descend out of 36,000 feet." Mark flew from his chair and ran for the door. He pushed through and raced down the dimly lit corridor. He rounded a corner and crashed into another person. The impact threw him into the brick wall. "Shit! Sorry!" He propelled himself forward and ran as fast as he dared, leaving a stunned coworker sprawled behind him. "Get out of my way!" Mark yelled as he rounded another corner. His left foot slipped on the waxed floor, but he steadied himself. He could see the payphone just ahead, and he prayed it was on a different circuit than the other phones. He slid the last 4 feet and yanked the receiver from its cradle. He jabbed at the buttons furiously and tried to blot out the image of a collision between 2 airplanes. There wasn't a controller in the business who hadn't had nightmares about this very situation. A 737 could carry as many as 150 people, and the KC-135 had a crew of at least 4. As hard as he tried, he couldn't escape the image of 2 airplanes colliding, the debris and passengers raining down from 5 miles above the earth. He pictured the tiny flags that the investigators would sink into the ground to mark each of the dead, and then the hundreds of body bags that would be lined up somewhere in a makeshift morgue. The death toll was bound to be staggering.
"We're sorry. All circuits are busy. Please try your call later," the automated voice calmly requested.
Mark looked at the phone as if it had somehow betrayed him. He yanked his cell phone from his pocket, ignored his trembling hands, and pushed the power button as he ran toward the front door. Moments later, he burst through the double glass doors into the driving rain and huddled under the small awning. Breathing heavily, he turned his back to the deluge and checked that his phone had powered up. Vivid flashes of lightning danced in the clouds overhead, followed by the rolling sound of thunder. Mark dialed the number for Chicago Center. As the hisses and clicks sounded in his ear, he waited and tried not to hyperventilate. Rain came in torrents. Another explosion of thunder rattled the structure around him. He looked at his watch. It was going to be close, but there was still time. Mark swore under his breath when he heard the busy signal. He disconnected the call and hit the redial button. He squeezed his eyes shut as waves of self-recrimination washed over him. Why hadn't he descended or turned one of the airplanes earlier? Why was any of this happening?